Hey guys, welcome to the debate show on Get Lifted TV, where we give you our uncensored opinions on various topics. I'm Ju.
I'm Nathan Devonte.
And I'm Jem Wakefield.
On today's show, we're going to be talking about the lack of diversity on award shows. So what is your guys' thoughts on that?
Nathan, I'll let you go first.
Well, I feel that in entertainment, there are clear and obvious, misrepresentations of diversity in entertainment. Most recently, in the Oscars, the Stacey Dash situation and the Jada Pinkett, there being no black people being nominated for an Oscar, despite some of the major movies of 2015 featuring black performers.
Getting on to Stacey Dash, she made a lot of comments that I thought were quite ridiculous. You got to see her interview with Fox News.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And she mentioned two things which I was quite surprised about and quite shocked about. That we should get rid of black networks such as BET and also Black History Month, in order to basically get rid of the problems that we have in the representation in awards, which I thought was ridiculous. I remember watching the interview that Janet Herbert did, and she gave her opinion on what she said, and she made a very valuable point that as people of color and black people and people of color, these award shows is all we have, because if we didn't have them, who would be reflecting us, who would be awarding what we do and telling our stories apart from these networks? Stacey Dash has worked on these networks before. On BET, they even put a picture up on Twitter.
Yeah, they did. Their comeback was quite funny, apparently, wasn't it? Where it was like, can we have our check back or whatever? But I mean, what she was trying to also project was what the future could be. I think what she was trying to say, she was trying to say, her answer was to get rid of it, wasn't it? She's saying, let's get rid of it, and then there won't be anything that's separate, and then people will have to integrate. I think that was what her message was, but it was just too simplistic. Like, in an ideal world, that would be great, but it was just too much of a simplistic kind of shell for what's actually going on. These shows have come about and these programs have come about because there wasn't enough going on in the mainstream, so we've created our own. It's like saying, look, this is what we can do, and they're very successful in their own right. The Black History Month comment was just like a foot in mouth thing. It's like the sort of thing your auntie said at the table. Like, what? How could you say that? But I think I understand in terms of what she's saying. I think it was stupid. Yeah. But I do see the origins of where she's coming from, in terms of this ideal world where there isn't the segregation. Things have had to happen because it wasn't being represented in the mainstream. How do you feel about the mainstream, as in the main award shows, and do you look to them as pinnacles anymore, or do you seek your kind of the programs you watch, the music you listen to from elsewhere?
Growing up, I did look to award shows for to tell me what's hot, and I remember there used to be R&B categories, soul categories, hip hop categories, and then they pushed them all together and made it urban. And pushed forward into 2015-16, the people who are winning these urban awards are not reflections of the origins of the music. So therefore, that's why there are the BET awards and the Soul Train awards, because it's helping to acknowledge those singers that are not those entertainers that aren't being spoken about, and those they aren't even being nominated for the award. How about that? This R&B singer Tank, he made a suggestion that they should make an R&B soul and a pop R&B category to help kind of push more achievements and more acknowledgements for more entertainment. But I just feel that the word urban should be scrapped from all award shows in general.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know, I never looked up to award shows to tell me. I think it's more like entertainment. I watched BET and I watched with entertainment, and I was lucky to be at the BET Awards last year, and I think it was a great experience seeing the artists come on, the way that it's set up, and it's the whole celebration of our culture and our music. And I think we need that, because if we don't have that, we would not be represented. I don't see any other place or other network who tells stories, our stories, and not the stereotypical stories that we see of a certain black person of color playing a certain role. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think we need that. And if I take it away, it makes no sense.
I don't know if we don't see that. I think Channel 4 are pretty good at writing stories. I think UK media is actually better at it, at recognising it, or providing platforms than America. Definitely. I think in America it's very much more coated in a kind of coated in a fashion, whereas here I do think we get them a bit more gritty, definitely. Yeah, when I think about Top Boy, for example, the Top Boy series, you know, that was an excellent series, and that did really, really well and got a lot of recognition. But in terms of, you know, what you're saying about the urban thing, is that not quite similar to what, is that not just a miniature version of Stacey Dash saying get rid of BET as an urban channel?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And going back to Top Boy and a lot of the shows that Channel 4 play, and I do recognise that Channel 4 and other channels do play and do show black programmes, but a lot of them are shown after the watershed. So a child who's growing up and they don't maybe have access to the internet that I have, they're actually not able to see a lot of the faces that they see in the mirror.
Who do you think's to blame?
I think that we need to have a panel, diverse people
judging
these, because even it's not only just black artists. I remember Adele mentioned it about music in the music industry in the UK, and she's like, why should I let, you know, a group of white men choose how good I sound? And she's a white woman, and she was saying this herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we do need a panel, because half of the time they don't know what if they're doing hip hop, like not to be, you know, like, what do they know about hip hop?
It's true, but I think what is starting to happen, what I've noticed, you know, coming into media later on in my life after another career, is that people are starting to listen and tune into people who are getting likes and views, because they're saying they're being led by what people are selecting, and that is a positive thing in some ways, I suppose, because they're saying, well, hang on, if this is what people are wanting to see, maybe we need to listen to that. So I have seen a shift, you know, in how people are selecting talent for their, whether it's diverse or not, you know, but is one question. But those people they're not the people who are deciding are often, you know, they're a lot older as well. They're not actually in this world. What they can translate is this is what people are watching, and how can we represent that in a more mainstream way. And I hope that will start coming through. I do. But people I've met who aren't of a diverse background, they are receiving people, and they are good people, but they've also got barriers too. They have red tape, and it's just getting to that source of the red tape sometimes as well. Do you know what I mean? It's
another topic as well with the Brit Awards. Like the grime scene is I think it's a scene which is popping in the UK right now. Everyone's wanting to listen to that, and everyone's tuning into that, and there's been so many great artists coming up from them. We've seen, you know, Return of Chipmunk, and Stormzy have had a great year. He charted number 9.
Yeah, I know.
But then that still isn't recognised, and I was quite surprised as well, because they are doing so much. Like he beat X Factor single.
Yeah, I know.
And he still didn't get his recognition.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what do you need to do?
It's really funny, because it's really strange, because in my head I'm like, I think it's the way I think about it. You know, I was talking earlier because I'm like, well, grime, it's actually a good association that it's this underground. It's got that underground label still. You know, if it becomes mainstream, then because people might give it that label, then what? Because that's part of the charm for me about grime, you know, and that's fueled Stormzy's material. So that's a positive that's come out of not being represented.
Yes, I agree with the kind of the underground thing, but everybody wants achievements and acknowledgements for the hard work that they're putting in, and yes, it is definitely about trying to get that balance of we're an underground genre, but we don't want to be pop.
I mean, look at how that Chip dissed Tiny. I know they're probably on good terms now about him, you know, with Jess Glynn and doing his thing in the studio, and that was kind of like a pop at him turning his back on that world and doing this more commercial thing.
I think most of artists, like grime artists as well, most artists I've seen, they don't want to be categorized. Like, I'm so Stormzy, I remember hearing an interview he did, and other artists, they don't need to be characterized. You can do grime and you can do anything else. That's what's part of being an artist. I don't think them being awarded will change the fact that it's still underground and to keep it to have what it is. I think just they just needing to say that this is what we're doing, people love it, we look at what we're doing, we're charting, give us the recognition that we need to have. That's what it is, it's about.
And this comes back to why there are these kind of sub-genre award shows being made, and you know, all tapping into the market that's not being acknowledged in the mainstream. And so that's why there are the Black History Months and the BET award channels and all of those things to tap into those grime artists, and you know, and that's why the MOBO Awards is there, etc. Although I know a lot of people don't watch the MOBO Awards anymore.
Even Grab Lately, they've recently done their own award show as well last year.
It's true.
And they celebrated the whole scene, because they have to. No one else is doing it, obviously.
No,
someone
I totally
has to
see
do
what
it.
you mean. And again, it comes back to the people who are recognising it. And for me, it seems quite apparent that what has to change is the panel and is the kind of expert knowledge that they're seeking. You know, because it's just they need to go out and find it and not be scared of it, you know. Get people like Jasmine Dotiwala and people who have dipped into that area and get them to have more of an expert role. She's so accomplished, you know. There are people who are accomplished, who've got good experience. There needs to be more proactivity in that area.
And it comes down to who is the panel, and this is what I like about MTV, because it's a voting system, you know, and that's how you win the award. Whereas some of these other shows like the Brit Awards, I don't know how they come to the conclusion that this is the winner, you know.
Jada Pickett Smith made a great point of we are powerful. We don't need to rely on them to recognize us or tell our stories. That we should ourselves invest in our own communities to tell our own stories.
Stand up yourself and show them how good you are, rather than saying please recognise us. And that's what she's saying. The power will stand in standing up. And I agree with her there, definitely.
I think it's needed. I think there comes a time where you as an artist or you as people can see that you're not getting recognised and you have to do something. So you have to take action on it. There's only so much you can take. Because I know black culture is a culture that is like widely celebrated. It is. But the people who do create stuff are never ever recognised, and that's a problem that we have. And something needs to be done about it.
But some artists don't need to be recognised. I think we're on the internet now, and a lot of our favourite singers are actually independent artists. They've set up their own little imprint record label. And I think that is so powerful, that you can live off making your music and selling it on the internet. You don't need to go through no awards show to be recognised. If people, at the end of the day, if you're feeling it, if you're digging it, you're gonna invest your time into it. So there's certain artists that I follow and they've never received an award ever, but I follow them, I buy their music, I support them. So you know, what does that award actually do for them?
Then that comes to the question of what is the importance, has the importance of award shows, you know,
the value changed for me a long time ago, but I think if that panel can have that more diversity, things will change. Definitely.
I just used to tap into the award shows for the performances. I can't lie. That was the reason why I watched them. Other than that, those singers, those performers, those actors, they're still, as long as they're in work and getting paid for what they're doing, then that's a great thing, you know.
Thank you for watching our debate show on Get Lifted TV. Make sure you like, subscribe and follow us on social medias on Get Lifted London.
And comment below.
We want to know what you think.
Eyes let go and bring it to life up and away. Don't you think it's time to create the villain that's existing only when you close?